It's a new day, it's a new podcast, it's a new superhero deep dive. Welcome everyone, I am your host Jason. I have a great episode for you. This one came in as a request, as the past few have. I'm really looking forward to get into it. There's not a lot to it, but there's a lot of potential with it, so I'm excited to share it with you. Let me get my normal disclaimers out of the way and we will jump into it. So the information is pulled from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. With that said, if you are listening to me wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, thank you so much. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Superhero Deep Dive. I post superhero memes throughout the week. I post extra videos every Friday, and the podcast comes up as a video every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, if you turned it on in the background, you know, all that good stuff. Comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Help me grow the channel. If I can get up to 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel, I will do a giveaway. You can also reach me at b4itall at yahoo.com. So b4itall at yahoo.com. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram under Super Deep Dive, and I always use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. And you can catch me every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day on Outworld Fleet Radio. Their website is www.un-con-ventional.com/radio. Okay, now all of that's taken care of. This one came in as a request on YouTube from, I believe it's Anton, but I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get the wrong person. I just didn't write it down, and I will going forward. I have probably about 5 or 6 more requests, but then after that I will start writing down who requested it so I can give you the proper shout out. But it is Starbrand from the new universe era of the Marvel Comics. So let me get into this. Starbrand has kind of popped up in different universes, even the current one, the 616 universe. I am just focusing on new universe because it was kind of a little blip in Marvel Comics, but the characters were pretty unique, and I do have a lot to go with it, so it's going to be great. Now his real name is Kenneth Connell. And the origin of Starbrand started with what's called the White Event. The White Event happened as a result of the first Starbrand wielder's attempt, and he was only known as the Old Man. Like, he didn't really have an identity. But he attempted to place his hand on an asteroid to kind of pass the Starbrand onto something else, like to get it off of him. This user of the brand was trying to get rid of the power, because with it, of course, comes huge responsibility. Now, when this happened, this huge thing of energy was created, which bombarded the Earth and led to the mutation of a portion of the Earth's population. After the Old Man's failed attempt to give his power to the asteroid, he came to Earth, desperately searching for someone who he could transfer the power to. The first person the Old Man encountered was Kenneth Connell, who's an auto mechanic living in Pittsburgh, who was dirt biking at the time. The Old Man gave his power to Connell, and so was born the second wielder of the Starbrand and main character of the series at the time. Kenneth is a car mechanic from Pittsburgh who receives the Starbrand from the mysterious Old Man he meets in the woods while dirt biking. Ken tries to use his powers to help others, but usually finds his efforts thwarted by the complexities of the real world, his own personal failings, and his unwillingness to publicly reveal himself. At first, he was given a costume by the Old Man based upon his dirt biking suit, which was allegedly as invulnerable as he was. However, he rarely had the chance to change into it during a crisis, and eventually its invulnerability was exposed as an illusion. And I think that was mainly because he wanted to give the Old Man wanted to give Kenneth some confidence going into this. Like, it's okay if you mess up. Your suit's invulnerable anyway, when it really wasn't. Later, Connell attempted to become a traditional superhero, donning a spandex bodysuit and mask to openly thwart terrorists on several occasions. However, this superhero career was short-lived and led to disaster. Though intelligent, he was self-involved and lacked the imagination and curiosity that would allow him to understand and wield the brand to its fullest potential. However, things would change when he learned of what he thought was the origin of the Star Brand from the Old Man. After killing hundreds in a comic convention, he eventually decided that he would be better off without his powers and unintentionally caused the destruction of all Pittsburgh, which was called the Black Event, when attempting to transfer the brand to a non-living object, which is basically what the Old Man tried to do with the asteroid, right? So soon after, Connell would be confused by the Star Child, or confronted by the Star Child, who is a Star Brand powered newborn son of his, who took the brand away from him, as well as the Witness, who is a spirit-like paranormal, who witnessed Connell's action. They would cause him to be killed by driving him off a cliff, though the brand would revive him. He would also confront the Star Child, along with the Old Man and 2 other bearers. The Star Child realized that Connell was in a perpetual time loop, and to close it, the 3 men bonded and took off for the parts unknown. He would return during World War III, stopping humanity's self-destruction and taking blame for both white and black events. Okay, so that's his history. Like, there's not a whole lot to it. They tried, when they did the new universe, they tried to make it kind of set in the real world, and that's why, they chose Pittsburgh. And they actually called the event the Pit. But, but there's a lot of groundwork here that we can work with. So hold on to that. Let's get into his powers. Now, the Star Brand allows its wielder flight, super strength, invulnerability, and the ability to unleash blasts of destructive energy. He can fly at hyperlight speeds, easily traveling from the Earth to the far reaches of the solar system in very little time. His strength is also seemingly unlimited. His durability makes him capable of surviving a nuclear bomb at ground zero with no effects, or to survive the blast from a rival Star Brand user. However, he must concentrate for this to happen, so if he's not paying attention or if he gets too scared, he can be hurt by normal means. The blast manifests in a circle around the wielder, causing widespread destruction similar to that of a nuclear explosion. Kenneth occasionally projected his energy in standard energy bolts, but this was unusual, and he was also able to sense Arden's ship when she was out of phase with normal reality, and thus invisible to most people. The Starbrand also grants its power, or its owner, immortality and healing from any injury or any type of death. If he is killed, he changes into a reptile-like form while he regenerates. The Starbrand's power will not typically manifest itself when the bearer is frightened or reluctant in any way. The Starbrand can pretty much use his imagination to expand his abilities, and because of this, the stronger the imagination of the bearer, the stronger his power will be. The Star Child, for example, was capable of extensive temporal and reality manipulation because he was a child and his imagination was basically unbridled. And those are his powers. Now, for fun facts, Kenneth Connell is a non-practicing Catholic. That's really all that I could find for him as far as like fun facts, like little trivia that's kept within the new universe era, I guess, or frame set. But yeah, what do you guys think of him? I mean, he's pretty basic, right? It almost sounds like they took the origin of Green Lantern and put him in the real world and, just didn't give him the ability to make things like tangible items. But that's not to say that he couldn't. He just didn't think of it. He thought of, ray blast and stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. Do you guys get that Green Lantern vibe? Because that's definitely what's coming off from me. But let me know. Like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you get to YouTube, let me know in the comments, because I have conversations with you guys. Everything gets acknowledged. And I love going back and forth with you all. You can catch me on YouTube once again under Superhero Deep Dive. And, you know, if you want to, you can always send me an email at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. Or you can send me a DM or whatever on Twitter or Instagram under Super Deep Dive. And I do use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. So I have many ways for you guys to reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, critiques, requests for future episodes, discussions on this. How can we improve the character? Did I miss anything that was pertinent? And remember, I am keeping this in the new universe kind of mindset. So if there's something important that happened to him outside of it, please feel free to add it. That would be great. I think it would help out a lot, actually, because maybe we could understand the character a little bit more. I was kind of struggling on this. But I do have some really good ideas for the character going forward in the power expansion section. Now I was looking, and you know, when researching this character, I kept it to the new universe iteration. Instead of all the times he's popped up in different universes, which also includes the main 616 universe. But because he's been in the 616 universe fairly recently, I can't really put him in a comic story, right? Because what good would it do? Like, he's just had one. And they've developed him some. So what do we do here? And I was thinking I was gonna just leave it up to you guys, but I like having this back and forth, because I've done it before where I've given my ideas, people have taken it, built off of it, or they've given their own, and it's led to great discussions. So I was thinking hard about this. And I came up with something pretty good. Theoretically, Starbrand could be the theme for a whole phase of MCU movies. But we'd have to do just a few minor tweaks to the character. But I think it'll work. So, like, hear me out. Let's try this out. I think that the blip from Thanos snapping his fingers could be classified as the white event. You know, we could have some scientists call it the white event or something like that, you know? And that's going to be where the stage is set. You know, when the blip happened, half the universe was wiped out. It came through like a wave, right? Well, let's say that when the wave hit, like a certain hospital, and it could be anywhere. Let's keep it to the United States, but it could be anywhere in the US. Let's say that there was a child born, like he was literally being delivered at that exact moment when the blip happened for him. Him and his mother survived, but with this new life emerging during such a crucial time, this child was born with the Starbrand imprinted on him. And we can even put it in his hand like how it has it in the comics, you know, so we can have this happen. Okay, that's the thing that kind of sets it off. But as the kid, you know, so the kid, he grows up, and as he's growing up, he always keeps his hand gloved or covered in some way. And the mom saying that it's a birthmark or some kind of like severe dermatitis or something, so it needs to stay concealed, you know, always needs to stay concealed. So he's always wearing gloves, or he's got it wrapped up in bandages, you know, something to where it just doesn't get seen by people. And with him growing up, let's have there be no flare-up of powers or any kind of special abilities. All it is just a mark, okay? So that's all we have to go with. And with the mom wanting to keep him under the radar because superheroes are known, and if you're born with this weird mark on your hand, you may get poked and prodded and looked at like you could be a hero, and if there's really no cause for it, you want to keep your child protected, right? So we're going to keep it covered up. We're going to keep under the radar because we don't want things to happen, right? So with the mom wanting to keep him under the radar, maybe they move around, or he's just incredibly sheltered, like he doesn't get to do a whole lot. And this leaves him to, maybe he doesn't have a great education because they're moving a lot. Maybe but maybe he's got a mechanical aptitude, which leads him to being like an auto mechanic as he gets older. Right? Because we're going to set this down the road. Like, we're just laying groundwork for things. So let's have him, like, he'd be a teenager, right? Or close to it. Because they jumped 5 years. So we're looking at things that have happened. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how old he'd be. That's a good question. But let's have him do this, and then we'll keep moving forward, okay? So showing mechanical aptitude. So he's working on cars. Maybe this is why they're moving around a lot, which gives him that mechanical aptitude. Like, as they're moving, he's having to kind of help fix the car and learn about it. So if they need to go to the next place, they can. And in the Eternals, it ended with a new Celestial being born, but the birth was stopped and the world was saved, right? So let's have this actually be the catalyst to ignite the Starbrand's powers. And I mean, the energy from that had to go somewhere, right? Like, so this young adult that was born at the same time as the blip gets powers at the same time as the death of a Celestial. And this could be crazy because this could also link him to Star-Lord, right? So wouldn't that be kind of funny? You have Star-Lord, who's half Celestial. You have Starbrand, who gets the powers of a Celestial. Like, it just kind of works. But now we have him in the current MCU, spoken in the background, but never really seen in person. Because all we're doing right now is like laying groundwork for things. With random things happening, like maybe an energy surge in a far off city. Like that's maybe where his powers started manifesting. Maybe there's a hole in one of the walls of the Grand Canyon or something. Like a new cave is shown, but it looks like it was blasted out. They don't have any reason why something like that would happen, or any idea of why something like that would happen. Maybe in some Midwestern farm, there's a giant crater, but there's no meteor. So it's almost like a Superman kind of thing, but not. But you give a little nod to it, like maybe in Kansas, there's a giant crater. There's no meteor though. So what happened, and then you have little Superman jokes. But there's just random things that can happen around that show a slow development of his powers, because he's actually responsible for these. Like, he's just trying them out, but he doesn't have that control. So he's going out into like an empty farm or farmland, in the middle of nowhere, and he's trying this, and this is what happens. He starts getting control, and he sees something, and he tries to blast it, and it ends up he's in the Grand Canyon at the time, and he blasts a hole in it. I mean, just random things like this. He's finding out he can absorb energy, and he calls a power outage in a city. Like, all these things can be linked to him, but they're just spoken about in the background. And they'll show, like I said, it'll show a slow development of his powers, but it's also scattered around. So it's going to keep the likes of Damage Control and S.H.I.E.L.D. on their toes, to where they think it's linked, but they don't know. So they're kind of working things separately. They just don't really see a pattern yet, but you just hear it mentioned. And then eventually we get to Kenneth, who's the Starbrand, being able to use his powers to some sense of degree. But at this point, this is where he's going to insert himself into the MCU, and using all of the past events as a reference and a pivot point, to do that. Like, oh, well, I was this baby born at the same time the blip happened. Half the nurses left. Or the doctor left, and there was one nurse there in the room with me and my mom, and she's the one that delivered me. It could be anything like this, but he could be like the one special child that just so happened to be there. But here's the thing, with every Marvel phase, there's got to be a big bad guy, right? So what if it's him, but inadvertently? Like he's got to be able to control something as immense as a star brand. But what happens if it keeps growing, or if he loses control? We're seeing with Werewolf by Night that just premiered recently, we're seeing a supernatural element coming into the MCU. So could that trigger something, or like something like that? Like there's a lot of elements here. What if his powers get the attention of Galactus? So that brings the Fantastic Four and other cosmic heroes. Essentially, he's kind of like the bad guy that leads up to the bigger bad guy, which will then make him ultimately the good guy to fight the new bad guy. Like there's a lot that can be done with this. Like he's the bad guy simply because he can't control all this power. So the other people aren't necessarily fighting him, they're just trying to help control him. And I know it's kind of confusing, but this could have a lot of layers to it, and I think it could work long term. So, with every movie casting, who would we cast for such a role? I honestly don't know, but personally, I would love to see a Hispanic actor take the role. Like, Starbrand doesn't have to be race or gender specific. And I don't really know if we have a lot of Hispanic representation in the comic movies. Like we have America Chavez from Multiverse of Madness, but she's just been in that one. She hasn't been in anything else yet. Let's see, Shang-Chi is Asian. Black Panther is African. I just don't know. We have Miss Marvel, who is Middle Eastern, Pakistani, I believe. I don't know the proper term. I'm just saying Middle Eastern as a general area, not specific. So if that's not correct, please let me know. I'm sorry. There's no offense intended. But like we have a lot of different representation. I just can't think of any Hispanic. Can you guys? I don't know. But anyways, he could be a good one to have. But what do you think? Do I have something here? Can you go farther with this? Would you go farther with this? But I think this could be a great segue. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram under Super Deep Dive. I use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall@yahoo.com. And you can like, comment, subscribe on my YouTube channel at Superhero Deep Dive. Leave a comment there, request for future episodes. Help me grow the channel. I really, really want to grow the channel, and I can't do it without you. So every little bit helps. But I think that's gonna do it for me. Like I said, I'm anxious to hear your feedback. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you all have a great week. I hope you're blessed. I hope you're happy. I hope you're safe. And I hope you're smart. And if you're not smart, it's okay. Just don't get caught. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.